Howdy doodly guys, Lycetimus here, and I'm trying a bit of a new thing here with this. Well, it's going to be an audio backed with gameplay, at least I imagine. I had already tried to do a few takes of this and they hadn't gone very well, so hopefully this will be the better take, now that I have a list and everything is semi-organized. But what this video is going to be me explaining how I personally found my happiness, because I think if there's one thing that's kind of strange about this world is that a lot of people don't consider themselves happy for varying reasons. So this audio log and probably others is going to be how I found my personal happiness and why I consider myself a happy person. So I hope that it's something that's interesting at least. If it's not, I'll probably cut it. I was hoping this would be semi-easy for me to do, since it's just kind of me talking to the microphone and spitballing, other than, the fact that I'm going off of my list. But without further ado, let's get into it. So first off, I would say that in trying to find your happiness, you never want to compromise another person's pursuit of happiness. In terms of the Constitution of the United States of America, which I agree with, the end statement says that all men have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I think that the end phrase, or the last three words, I guess, are the key part to the Constitution, because it's not saying every man will be happy, nor will every woman be happy. It's acknowledged that happiness was a state of mind. They said you have the right to the pursuit of happiness, which means you can do what makes you happy. But I would say that the only compromise around this is that you do not, in any way or shape or form, go against another person's individual happiness or in harming someone else. So my first tip to happiness is, or how I first, and I guess this is kind of how I started coming to happiness, was to recognize that I was a part of a system, so to speak. We always think of ourselves as bodily individuals, we're just humans and we just walk around and do our daily routine or whatnot. But we very rarely, at least from what I have seen and what I've personally experienced, we very rarely ever notice how we contribute to the world around us. We don't see all the trees for what they are. We don't see all the systems going on behind the screen, behind the curtain, so to speak. We don't see how everything works together biologically, or how interesting and intricate every little system in the world is. We need to, in my mind, acknowledge more of our ecosystems around us, and then to go along with that, I would say to acknowledge more of our social systems. Recognize that other people are also contributing to this. Whether you contribute good or contribute bad is up to your decision making. And no, this isn't a plea for, better environmental safety. I think that our environment's gonna go where it's gonna go, depending on however it works, and I'm not gonna champion something that is ultimately not up to me. So I would say first off, recognize that you are in this system with other people, whether you like it or not. So ultimately it's up to you to make sure that you are bettering this system. The only way to better the system is through you personally bettering yourself. Like Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. I think this is kind of a frequently overused quote, but I think it does really go quite the distance in terms of its value. Kind of saying that during my junior and senior years, there was a large transformation for me because I had moved across the United States, and I didn't really ever get to come to terms with that until about a year later. It wasn't the worst it could have been by any standards, but I had a lot of personal issues that I needed to deal with that I clearly wasn't. And going into my senior year, the year later, I kind of came to terms, recognized, okay, you know what, the memories are what they are, it's in the past, I can't change the past, but I can remember how good it was, kind of thing. So transforming into that stage kind of led me to recognize what is happiness, what makes me happy. One of the things I found that truly makes me happy, and I've heard plentiful amounts of other people say this is the same for them, and I think it's just how we are psychologically as humans, is that we are happier when we help other people. A quote to go along with this, because there's going to be a lot of cheeky stereotypical quotes in this, you can bet your money on that. A quote to go along with this is, the best way to gauge a man is by seeing the actions he does for those who can do nothing for him. And the only thing I would really tack onto that is to say when nobody is looking. I think it speaks a lot to a person to know what they do for others when they're not being judged or watched or graded or critiqued. So some examples to go with this. Just a few days ago, I was in my engineering class, and one of my classmates next to me was clearly struggling with one of the problems, and he couldn't seem to get it and didn't know what was going on. And the teacher was too busy to really help him. So before I left for class, which my options were to leave and make it to my next class on time, or stay, help him out, and be late for my next class, but help him. Between those two options, I decided to stay and help him through his problem. And so, through this action, it kind of made me just feel better about myself through the whole day. I felt more valuable in the eyes of myself, more valuable in the eyes of somebody else, and more valuable statistically, so to speak, in the way that I knew that I took time out of my day to help somebody else to make their day good when they were having a bad day. Well, maybe not good, but at least better. Just improving the betterment in the system. I think scientifically, entropy in the universe is decreasing. I'm going to double check that to make sure. Okay, my apologies. Entropy is increasing. That was at the inverse. So, rather than allowing such, well, quote-unquote chaos to continue and rise, it's nice to take a little bit of time to just help somebody with something that they're struggling with. Whether it be something small or something big, something that they can't really handle themselves, or something that they should be able to handle themselves and are just having a difficult time doing so. It always makes me feel better knowing that I contributed positively to somebody's day in a way that they can't pay me back, and in a way that I know I wasn't critiqued or forced or graded. Now, a side tip or sub-thought to go along with these other 2 points is, I don't know if this is a big issue for a lot of other people, but personally I get a lot inside of my own head. I tend to think to myself a lot. My point is, I tend to get very inside my head, and when I do get inside my head, it can be very hard for me to recognize what is around me. So I think this is a big issue when people are constantly on their phones or inside, which I have no problem with. When I walk wherever I go, I almost always, I shouldn't say almost always, I literally always listen to music, even if it's just for like 30 seconds. And when I'm not listening to music, I'm on my phone doing something. But it's taking those few moments just to kind of enjoy what's around you. Like when one of my most fond memories of college so far is just walking down one of the paved sidewalks while I was leaving class for the day, laying down next to a tree that was on campus, and then just sitting there for like 10 minutes just to feel the wind and the environment around me. I got a few ants on me, but it's the least of my worries. Just taking the time to enjoy the environment around you and taking the time to be a better person to other people's environments is probably my biggest key tip to finding happiness. So I don't want to keep these any longer than 10-15 minutes, so I'm going to cut it off here. If you guys enjoyed this, let me know down in the comments or through upvotes. I'm considering making a second channel, just because this one has had so many issues and gaps in uploading and monetization for, songs and edits, that is to the point where I basically will not gain any kind of exposure through continually posting on this channel. So I'm thinking about making a new channel and then just transferring as much over there as I can, as well as taking as much time as I can to keep working on uploads despite my college schedule and workload and work schedule. Along with all of this, I will have a montage coming out soon. I don't know about soon. I have to gather clips first, but I have a song picked out and I have an idea for how I'm gonna edit it all together. So as soon as I'm done grinding out some clips, then we should be good to go for a montage, and I'm very excited for that. I look forward to what's coming up in my future. Very stressed and very tired, as any college student is, as well as very broke. But I'm excited for my future. I'm excited for the potential I can hopefully muster in YouTube. There's a lot of changes that make it very hard for me to do this for multiple real life reasons and for reasons that YouTube hates their low subscriber count channels. Community posts such as you see is available to channels with 10,000 plus subscribers, I believe. And it makes it very difficult for me because if there's one thing I would be doing, it's a lot of community posts, but alas, here I am at about 60 subscribers. So, only 9,940-ish off. But again, thank you for sticking by. I look forward to making a second channel. Hopefully it'll actually push the videos I create rather than like it does on this channel. And I hope you enjoyed. I also have future Let's Plays ideas coming through. Several campaigns I'm looking into. Possible PC gaming, depending on how that goes through. I am looking into OBS and Shadowplay, I believe they're called. Just need to take the time to do that, and hopefully not the money, depending. I doubt the software will be free. I plan on doing more co-op games with Aiden and other friends, as well as single player and solo narrative games. I have some in the lineup that I'm really interested in taking a look into. I just need to find some time to sit down and actually play through the game, which is probably going to be the hardest part of trying to do anything YouTube related nowadays, because as I tell most of my friends and family, when I'm not at college, I'm at work. When I'm not at work, I'm doing homework, and when I'm not doing homework, I'm probably sleeping. So I'll have to see what I can do to keep this thing going, and I look forward to my future, hopefully the channel's future. I enjoy doing this, and I hope that it'll last for a little bit. I don't plan on making any money off of it, but I just enjoy having stuff out there. It's a fun experience, it's a unique experience to say the least. So without further ado, that's all from me. Like, and miss out.